Hey guys, new video here. Today I'd like to talk about a question I get asked a lot on stream, and that is, what do I do? And I don't mean that in a sense of like, what build do I go? Like, how do you get into PoE if you're a completely new player? But usually, what do I do when I've reached the end game? End game in the scenario, we'll talk about just getting all your watch stones, because this league they introduced, it's like a two-time league, right? And the two-time league it's an expansion and a challenge league. Usually, we only get a challenge league, and expansion is probably like once a year. So a lot of people are like, "Ooh, there's so much to do." You have Atlas skill trees, you have the change ascendancies, you have overall Atlas skill tree, you have like new maps, you have Awakener 9, you have like, ooh, it is a lot of stuff, right? And it can be kind of frustrating to be like, am I focusing my time in the right places? So for this video, I will attempt to address after you've gotten your 8 watchstones, or if you're anywhere close to that, like what should you do? How important are certain things on the Atlas, in my opinion, just as a general overview. And then maybe you can feel like after watching this video that what you're currently doing is not a waste of time, right? Because that's a pretty bad feeling when you feel like you wasted some time, or like you feel like someone else is doing all this crazy stuff and you're not doing it. So let's get into the content. So given that you have obtained all 32 of your watchstones, what should you do from there, right? So as you obtain 32, I have this node. You might see 9 right here. Yours will say 8 because I've taken this node right here, 1 2 3 4 points for +1 awakening level. So I would say one of the best things you can do, because it's going to pay dividends all the way down the road. If you play a long time, you want to work on the things that will kind of juice up the content that you're running, no matter what, right? If you're coming from like WoW or some other MMOs, like these are like passive points, right? Like, how like you take skills and the passive effect is always on, versus like if you have like a cooldown thing where like you might only be able to use it in a certain scenario, which kind of feels bad. So think of these like as always juicing up any content that you run. And the first thing is going to be Atlas bonus and Awakener bonus, okay? And also to some extent Awakening level 9, which I think is a great point overall for people who love mapping. So when you get up here, you might have maybe like 100/20, you might have like 60/whatever. Whatever your Awakening bonus is, you're going to want to push these two numbers up, right? It will always, like, there would never be a scenario where pushing these 3 numbers will be detrimental, okay? So this number right here is basically just map tiers. When you get to 100, every map besides tier 1 maps will be shifted up 1. This is huge, right? Especially if you're trying to sustain the Awakener 8, where all your watchstones are going to make it so that you only drop tier 14s and above, right? If you're doing a T16, your 14s might become they will automatically be shifted up to 15s, and then you have a chance as you go over 100 on here to get an additional drop chance, right, for +2 tiers. So I would say that this number, getting this to max, is actually really, really good, because the way you got to think about it is like, let's say you're at 150 on this number, right? And then you get another 5%. Well, you might not think that's a lot, but then your chance to drop 2 tiers higher goes from 50 to 55, which is only 5%, right? But it's actually a 10% more multiplier to your 2-tier drop rate. It's kind of like resist. When you go from 75 to 76 fire res, you actually only take, it's only 1% extra resist, right? But you're actually taking 4% less damage, right? Because you were taking 25%, now you're taking 24%. So a 1/4 sorry, not 1/4. That'd be ridiculous. 25% less damage. You'll be taking 4% less damage. Is that what I said? So think of it like that, and every little bit you push up will kind of even out as you're running like tons and tons of maps, your drop rate to get the maps you actually want. And this is especially good because our T16 natural things like burials and things like that are naturally horizon orbable, so it helps you out even more to get more of the higher tier maps. Not to mention that higher tier maps usually in bulk sell for a lot more than the lower tier maps, so you can make some money off of it that way. So getting this is, if you are at least focusing on this, and this is just bonus objective, meaning that for any of the maps, like white maps natural, you need to complete the map magic. Yellow maps naturally need to be completed as rare, and then when you get to the T14 level, or actually the red map level 11 and above, those maps need to be completed as rare and corrupted. An easy way to do this is to, like, if it's too hard for you or whatever, you can just like try like transmuting the map for like 1 mod, regaling it for a 2nd mod, and then corrupting it so it's like super easy. If you're scared of like 8 nodes or like 6 nodes is like too hard or something, or it can still corrupt into an 8 node, but you'll be okay there. So definitely try to get this number up, and especially if you don't have this map tab, right? If you have the map tab, it shows you one yellow line means that the Atlas bonus is complete, and then a green line means that the Awakening bonus is complete. If you don't have this, you can just like type, you can just look here, and the way you know is that you see this orange ring. Try to look at your Atlas and make sure that all the maps have orange rings. Okay, orange rings means that the bonus is complete. The white inner ring that you see right there means the Awakening bonus is complete. And so as you get this higher, it will always benefit no matter what map you are running. So that's amazing. Now let's talk about Awakening bonus. Awakening bonus is arguably more important because it actually, besides maps, it actually adds to the juice of the map. And the reason I have 162 is because if you do the division, getting to 164, it doesn't make that 10% 11, and it doesn't make the 27% into 28, okay? So since PoE is a game where most of the time things are rounded down, there are decimals in this game, but most things are rounded down, getting those 2 extra will not net me any more bonus. The 2 that I need for, if you're wondering, are Whale Temple right here, kind of a hard map, and then Death and Taxes Awakening bonus on a T16, right? So not a big deal there. 162 is the min max. You will not get any benefit besides like maybe some OCD, you know, completing your 164 out of 164. So let's talk about the first line and what that means for you, and why going for Awakener bonus before doing anything else will always net you huge benefits. So the 10% chance to receive an Atlas mission when completing a map. Completing a map is killing the boss of that map, or in some maps like doing a special objective, but in here, you kill the boss and you will get the 10% on top of a natural 35%. So it used to be 40% chance across the board for killing a boss. They nerfed it to 35, but gave us this additional 10% to work towards. And so if you add the 10, you are going to have 45. Now that 45 is now your natural master gain rate for maps, given you don't have any talent points. And I'll talk about that in a second. You know, there's like talent points around the different regions that give you extra chance to spawn master missions. For example, if you look right here, actually no, Alba's right here. Right here, there's a 10% chance to grant an additional Alba mission on completion, right? So you get even more missions on top of that. So it really helps to have this the top line kind of min max, right? You definitely want more master missions because of skill trees. You're going to want to match the masters with a certain skill tree that you can get the most benefit out of them, right? Talk about that a little bit in a second too. So working towards this for the second one is just an effect of modifiers on non-unique maps. Now this does make your maps harder because it is pretty much all the numbers that you see in a map. So I'll take this Barrow Chambers. So everything that you see with a number is pretty much multiplied by 1.27, okay? And that 1.27 is the good and the bad. So if you have like some monster life, it will definitely multiply that. But if you have like pack size and quantity, it will multiply that as well. So you know how like OP Magic Find is, right? So this number right here, the higher you can get it, because that 27% from let's take a map that has 100% quantity, for example, right? And you think of what a really good ring has, like a Ventnor's Jamble with 10% quantity, boots with like 20% quantity. If you have none of this, for example, right, and you get no extra magic find, and you go to like 20, right, that's basically getting a free magic find item. And going to 27, when lots of the things can actually be above 100% quantity and things like that can spawn where they kind of adjust the juice of the map, right, or you add things that adjust the juice of the map. This multiplier, every little percentage will be really crazy. I can't stress this enough. And that is why people, you know, use like things like chisels, you know, scarabs, all these things to really juice up their maps, because every little bit they can multiply, whether it's the monsters or the effect of the map, will pay off in the end. That's why people say you can't really lose money mapping, because the more you add, the more you get out of it. Okay, so that is huge. Getting Awakening bonus could be a little bit difficult, but you will, if you need to make like a little pit stop and like stop like farming some crazy region that you heard about, just to get your Awakening bonus done, I promise you in the future, this will apply to all of the content that you're doing on the Atlas for the maps and stuff. So you will be getting lots and lots of like drops, you know, it applies to more maps, more drops, more XP, everything like that will be raised by a significant amount. So try to get this done. Okay. Awakener 8 to 9. Now, I really do recommend taking these points, right? Because what does it do to Awakener? I get this question all the time. What does it do to Awakener when it's 9? Is it harder? If you can handle Awakener 8 comfortably, you will not care about Awakener 9. It's a little bit more damage, a little bit more life, but the mechanics aren't any different. It's the same Awakener fight, and you'll be totally fine. judging from the numbers in the middle here, you can see that there's some differences, right? So I have, instead of 8, I have 9%, where you see 9%, and I have 4.5 instead of 4. So you might think, that's like not very much, right? That's not very much at all. But actually, if you're doing hundreds of maps, this does add up, and it lessens the variance in which you get bigger drops. Okay, and especially in that 4.5, you can go nodes like this, which add a 3% to the 4.5. So really crazy there. And these things, once again, these escalating like numbers, they will kind of like, you'll definitely notice as they all come together to make each map like just so much more juicy. Okay, so Awakener 9 is also something good to focus on. But if you don't like these nodes, that's totally fine as well. Now, talking about getting these nodes, if you have Awakener 8, you probably already have your Watchstones and like your Malvin invitation areas. I would then focus on, if you have some easy points to get in zones that you think you'll run, definitely take the time to get all those 10 points. And because you don't want to be running like 50 maps in a row where you're missing 2 points, right? Because it's just the same as these numbers in the middle. You're going to be missing out on so much juice. So get your 10 points done on the regions that you know that you will run. And then after that, focus on this middle area. Okay, this middle area is really important. Now, I don't even have all 12 points. You get 12 points in the middle. I only have 10 because I'm missing the feared. I'm gonna need to buy a carry for that because my characters are they're kind of bad for bossing, so I can't actually do that myself right now. But once you get that, 12 points is super OP, and definitely focus on that. So the way that you get this, if you don't know, when you mouse over this, there are 5 of these things here. These 5 little like watchstone looking things. One is like Breach Lord, Shaper Guardians, Elder Guardians, the bosses, and then you have the synthesized maps. You can go buy those maps, do them. You don't actually need these invitations on hand first. You can go kill all these bosses and then go buy these invitations if they don't drop them, right? Like you can see how many I have. Well, these are my area, what's it called, region stones. But like these, I had a lot of these, but I've been as you can see, I've been selling a whole lot of them, right? So that's another thing to do, right? The easiest ones here are probably going to be probably Shaper Guardian and Elder Guardian, and then synthesized ones. And then after that, the Breach Lords I've heard is pretty hard depending on your build. And then the feared, the last one on there, Cortex, Chayubi, Alluring Abyss, Shaper's Rum, and Uber Elder, is pretty tough as well. So it's not a problem if you have to buy a carry because those points are pretty nice for getting your Atlas a little bit more boosted. So work on that slowly as well. That's never going to be a waste of time, and you'll always see the benefit as long as you're mapping. So with these 3 numbers out of the way, I would also like to talk about masters real quick, right? Because like a lot of people are holding on to masters, and I was too in burials. So I want to give a quick guide on like if you're gonna dump your masters, meaning that you want to focus farm one of them, which ones are worth doing once you get to this higher level. So like, I've done a lot of maps already, and I can tell you right now that if you like mapping, delve after a while is not so good. Now you can go delve for easy 83 XP, but the loot and the rewards aren't going to be that good because you're not focusing on delve, right? And even the cities, besides the recipes that you need to get, the cities still won't really compare to the map. So delve is pretty bad. You're okay not doing any of these delves. Okay, you can like not do a single one and you will be okay. Recipes you might have to get from your friends or your guildies. June, extremely good. I would say if you want to dump your June missions, I do them right here because I focus on a board, like the 2-house strategy. You can see my other videos for that. So I like these nodes right here, which make me ramp up my 2 houses that I really want to run over and over a little bit faster. But if you are farming Katarina, this area right here is actually not so bad in Haywark Hamlet for farming Katarina because it gives free intelligence. Okay, so dump your Junes depending on your strategy in one of these 2 regions, Valdo's or Haywark. Okay, the Alba missions, I would highly recommend that you don't run an Alba mission if you can help it in any region except for Glenach Cairns. Okay, so Alba maps are run in Glenach Cairns. End of story. There is small instances where you can run them in areas where you get double beyond with Nemesis, right? Because you need the monsters, or some like giga juiced areas. But for the most part, just run your albos with these 4 points, and afterwards look at your temple. You'll see so many tier 3 rooms. It's kind of crazy. Like I think this is like one of the most OP master nodes in the entire game. Like it kind of like when you look at the other ones, you're kind of like, wow, like that one's like super OP, right? They give you so much more for the value. So I'm going to wait for all my albas to run in Glenrock Cairns. And then as for my Einhards, obviously there are Einhard nodes that you can get. There's like some here, and there's another region where you can run them. I personally don't really like Einhard because he just takes a long time to capture the beast, and it's kind of annoying. So I like to focus on the other regions. So if you want to do that, definitely run it with the skill tree. And then Saba, there are harvest crafting strats where like you can get like you can get the grove right here. You can get the points over here for her, so you have more options. And then when you encounter her, choose the option that has the harvest crafting, and then you can go harvest craft a lot, right? So that's what I'm saving my Zabas for, but that's gonna be later on for me because right now I want to focus on other regions. Okay, talking about skill point order, it doesn't really matter what skill point order you go, as long as it's kind of matching up with like something that you're running, right? For example, I'm going to talk about this middle area because I do get asked this middle area quite a bit. Like, what are your points and why? So I will briefly go over like why you have to like think about what you're running, because like you see this right here, this one right here is, these are really only if you are running synthesized maps. So because I sell my synthesized maps because I don't want to jamble on the rings or anything, then taking these 2 points, even though they're super good, as long as you're running the non-Zaba ones, right? They are going to do nothing for me. Okay, so I elect to do something that I will always feel the impact of in my maps. So for me, this one, two missions a day is really good, and then an additional 10% chance to grant a mission on completion stacks with this. So I think this is like incredible, right? Because I will always be using master missions when I can in the appropriate zone. This one's always good because every boss kill I make has this impacting it, right? This is like for if you're gonna kill the Shaper Elder Guardians, right? Since I don't, because my builds are for speed mapping, these will not do anything for me. And then for these, Shaper dropping 3 additional items is pretty OP. And then the Elder, the Watcher's Eye un-ID'd is really crazy. So, that's really good if you're doing that content. Over here, I think this is always good, like I mentioned earlier. And then if you're doing enough Cyruses, taking these for more chance of Awaken support gem is really OP as well. And then once again, Harvest, I'll switch to over here. So it's okay to respec. These refund points are incredibly cheap. You can buy them off the trade site for, I think, was it between 5 and 10C. So that is pretty good there. So I've talked about the Masters. Let's just recap everything, right? You've gotten your 32 Watchstones. Where is it worth your time? It's worth your time to get these 3 numbers min-max, all like no matter what. It's worth it to match your masters with the particular zones, right? With a special focus on Alba being one of the most OP ones, especially if you can sell temples if you don't need them yourself. June is really crazy for farming. Like today I was in the process of setting up my board on stream, and we already have 8 of these pure watchstones, and these pure watchstones are currently, I think they're like 1 exalt, 1.1 exalt, right? So that's 8.8 exalts just from that fled branch. Pretty good there, not counting the scares from the intervention, and that will keep paying out because the board is now finally set up, and I have like a few more here, so that's pretty good. And then of course, you can try out the other ones if you really like Einhard or Delve. I'll say go for it, but in my opinion, like as of right now, Nico is kind of bad for mappers, right? And then Einhard is good, but I just personally don't like it. Okay, so let's say you get all this done, right? And there's going to be situations that arise where you kind of have to like pick the juice. And then so the ultimate question is like, okay, fine, I got all these things done, right? I got all my 10 skill points in every region. I got my overall Forbidden Realms, the Uncharted Realms skill tree done, right? I got 164, 162. I got, everything's perfected, okay? I forgot to talk about favoriting. Favoriting is I do a 114, 115, 116, so I can focus my drops. Definitely set up a favoring system to drop the map that you like. That this adds base 10 weighting each time you favorite it, okay? Divided by the other maps in that tier, so super OP. So let's say you get all of that done, and now the question that will finally be on your mind, okay, that I guess asks all the time is, which region is the best? Which mapping strat is the best? And really, it doesn't even matter. Any zone that you're really enjoying is gonna be a lot of money as long as you focus up Like if you roll 3 maps randomly that you're like, oh, I like these 3 maps at a time, and then go and just randomly put stuff in, that's pretty bad. You're not gonna make much money that way because it's so inefficient and there's so much time in between. So what I would recommend that you do is pick a few regions and then just focus up. So what I do is I like to, for example, I like my dunes and canyons. So I've set up my scarabs and my maps here. I like my barrow chambers, of course, for the Parandus and the doctor card. So I set up my thing here. And you really just got to pick a few regions that you think will be fun, right? I don't know if barrow chambers is the best money. It's probably not, from like just like a 4 sexton 4 scarab standpoint, right? I don't know if like running the legions and Uvastir is the best, but I do know that I've been having the most fun running Valdos for June and barrow chambers in Ejories for Parandus, especially with some doctors thrown in there. So ultimately the question becomes, as long as you think it's cool, now you can follow some streamers or follow some YouTube videos, but as long as you're having a good time, really there's no bad option. Okay, there's no bad options on the Atlas this league. Everything's new. The meta will like kind of develop over time and Guardian does buff and nerf things as the league goes on. So like they've already hotfixed like they've nerfed the harbingers in here. They've nerfed well, we think they've nerfed ritual rewards. They are going to nerf the beast splitting of the winged scarabs, right? So, just pick a region you like. You'll make a ton of money. Don't worry too much about it. I hope some of you guys have watched this video and are prepared to like just play the game and like, this league is pretty amazing. So if you have any other questions, stream today on twitch.tv/qtalk_. And you guys can ask me any questions there. Okay, thanks for watching my video, guys. Bye. Bye, guys.